Hello.
Hi,
How are you doing? Hello.
I'm great. How are you?
And you?
I'm doing
I
great,
just
thank you.
yeah. You guys are looking so amazing. Welcome to the third series of Teen Filmmakers interview, and I'll be your moderator for today. I'm Torija Boro. Before we start, I'd just like you guys to introduce yourself. I mean, tell us about yourself and tell us what you do, the role you played in your movie, White Rose, please. I'll
Sure.
start with
Well,
Kade.
thank you for
Sorry,
the
Kade.
opportunity. Thank you so much for the opportunity to even be a part of the festival. We really appreciate it. I'm Kade Hill. I'm originally from Monrovia, Liberia, so West Africa. I got into film very early. I started off as a writer. It was always my passion to write. And then as I grew, it became something like, okay, I want to write, but I also want to produce it. I want to see it come to life and create it.
Yeah.
So in White Rose, I was actually able to write it as well as direct it and produce it. So it was a blessing to be a part of it.
Well, that's awesome, Kade. Thank you. Estrada, would you please introduce us to like just tell us about you?
Yes, so my name is John Estrada. I'm the CEO of Two Fish Five Loaves Entertainment, and I'm originally from Miami, Florida. Now reside in Atlanta, Georgia, and so I began writing skits at church back in 2011, and that's where I kind of discovered my passion. And I wrote in 2015, I wrote a play called Inside Out, The Untold Truth of Domestic Violence in the Church. And from there, that's where that year I ended up meeting Kade and introduced and showed her the play version of White Rose. And what she did was when she took that play and turned it into White Rose, the short film, she made it her own. And that's where I found my passion, where for film. And so that's where we're at today.
Okay, that is so awesome. Before we start, okay, so that is so awesome. Before we start, I just want you to know that we're gonna have some audience that's gonna join us soon. Yeah, so they are gonna join us, but we will just continue the interview. Yeah. So
Okay.
Kade, I would like to start with you. How did you start filmmaking? Like how did it really start? How did filmmaking start?
So for me, it started as a writer. I wrote a feature film called The Industry under my company, which is Jado Studios. It started about 10 years ago. And that movie took off where a lot of people got interested in the writing of it, and just to see everyone come together and create such a film, it actually made me continue writing. So I wrote a few other things, and then I stopped for a while until John reached out to me about White Rose. And when he reached out to me, I actually was not writing at the time. So when he called me about it, I knew I was going to say no, but I was just letting him talk, out of respect. I was like, okay, I'm going to let you finish, but I already know I'm not going to do it. But I told him, I said, I'm going to pray about it and I'm going to get back to you. But as he was talking, a calm came over me, and it was kind of like confirmation, like, yeah, this needs to go out. The thing about White Rose is that I love what it stands for. It's not just entertainment, it's also a movement as far as sex trafficking and things like that. I have a 3-year-old daughter myself, so it's near and dear to my heart when it comes to children and things like that. So that's when I got back into writing. He sent me the play, and I was able to turn it into the short film.
Um Okay, so I was saying, I'm sorry. So I was saying, I saw your movie White Rose. Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yeah.
I saw your
Yes, I can
movie
hear you
White
now.
Rose, and it is a very sensitive topic, which like you guys really did pretty good. You did so great. You did a great job on that. And I want to say thank you for the message because I feel it's a message. So, Estrada, could you please tell us what made you start filmmaking? Like, yeah, how did it all start? Filmmaking.
Me or
No,
John?
Estrada. I'm sorry,
Okay.
Okay.
John. Yeah.
Well, at first, initially, I started to do plays. When I started doing skits, I realized that I started to find my passion in writing and just developing characters, developing storylines. And one skit led to the one play that I did. And then when I met Kade through at work, through a mutual friend, I started to learn a little bit more about filmmaking. And one day through prayer, the Lord said, "Hey, reach out to Kade." He kept on telling me, showing me Kade, and I was like, "Okay, okay." So I finally reached out, and that's when she eventually said yes. But and then under her wing and her mentorship, she's kind of just shown me the ropes about filmmaking, and I didn't know anything about it, and this was brand new to me. But as she's been teaching me and taking me under her wing, I've I love filmmaking now. It's just like I know what I want to do now.
Wow, that is amazing, John. So, can you like tell us what the idea behind the movie White Roses? Can you tell us the idea behind it? Estrada.
Um, okay. The idea was just to bring awareness to sex trafficking. Being living in Atlanta, for many years it's always been in the top three as far as sex trafficking is concerned. You have one of the busiest airports in the world here, and a lot of people they just come in for that. There's a lot of pedophilia, there's a lot of sex trafficking, and it's a big business. So, a friend he brought that topic to me and was telling me about it. I didn't know anything about it, and when he told me about it, I said, you know what, this is something that we need to talk about. And like Kade, I have two daughters myself, and in writing the play version, I mean, there were many times in the script where I started crying because I started seeing my daughter in there, and it was just like it was so sad. And and so there are a lot of girls and a lot of young boys that are suffering because of this, and we need to bring more awareness to it. So that was the reason for it.
That is yeah, it's a really touching topic. It's a really touching story, and I feel like the awareness, you creating such an awareness, I feel like you've done a perfect job by doing that, by creating the awareness through your movie making. So, do you have anything you want to add to that, Kade? You want to add anything to it?
So the idea was John's idea. I will say that I wasn't even thinking about sex trafficking before I read the script. And what I liked most about it is that it took it from a point of view where you wouldn't expect. Like normally when you hear sex trafficking, you think the child was outside, they got kidnapped, white van came and took them away. But the way that John did the play, it was somebody in your family. So when you look at it like that and you think of how many people are abused just within their family, it was really important to be able to give the message out in a way that people could digest without turning off completely, because it's a very heavy topic. Even with the actors, we had to have counselors on set just in case it would trigger anything, because you don't know what people are going through in their personal lives. So we had someone there, we had someone come that was a victim of sex trafficking to kind of teach them what goes on and the statistics and all of that. So we really did our research with this, and we're praying that it actually turns into a TV series. So what you saw is actually the pilot. The short film is going to be the pilot for a developing TV series.
Okay, yeah, that is, yeah, like I said, yeah, that is such a great movie, and I want to say a big congratulations to you both. So this will be for the both of you though, but Kade, you could start with the pandemic has changed so many things in our lives. Like it's changed the way we do things, as filmmakers and
Right.
as I mean, and it has changed the way we do things as filmmakers and in our everyday life. Can you please tell me or tell us in what way has the pandemic changed your everyday life and also you as a filmmaker? Can you like, Kade, please?
Sure. Yeah. So by profession, I'm actually an engineer in Atlanta, Georgia.
Mm.
And since March, I've been able to work from home. So it's been a blessing because I was able to script more being home. I was able to do a lot of pre-production and things like that, not having to commute and work. So that portion of it has been a blessing. As far as actually getting out there and filming things, that has really been a challenge. My next film, Phantom, it was supposed to be filming this year, but we had to push it back because of safety reasons and things like that. So we just started pre-production, and yesterday we did some location scouting for a television series.
Wow,
But again, everybody is there in masks and gloves. You know, one person can come in at a time, so it makes it a lot longer. But you know, safety first is really the avenue that we're trying to do.
oh, that is awesome. So, Estrada, you want to tell us what effect has the pandemic has to your everyday life and all that?
I think it's been a blessing, but it's also, I think for me, it's just like how now I get a chance to work from home. Before I was commuting about 35 miles each way. So now what it did is, too, it allowed me to spend more time with my, to learn more, um, take classes, whereas the time I was taking about 2 hours in commute each day to and from work, but that time I can use that to take film classes, learn to sharpen my craft, and also just spend more time with my family. So it's been adjustments because now you have to wear masks, carry hand sanitizer, and sometimes you get out the car and you have your mask in your seat and you walk out and like, man, something doesn't feel right. Hold on, oh man, my mask. It's just like so you got to run back to your car to get your mask. So it's all an adjustment, but hey, just taking it one day at a time.
Yeah, yeah. And life has to go on, right? So,
Yeah.
so life has to go on. Like it has really, really changed a lot of things. It has changed everything. Like it has changed a lot of things. But we thank God that we are here and we are
Yeah.
okay, we are safe and all that. So, would you like tell us the way for what do you think is the way forward for filmmakers now with this pandemic? Kade, please. I'm gonna start with you.
So the thing is, America, the curve is not really flattening, so we keep going backwards. They try to open the economy and then the cases spark up, so we keep going backwards. So it's like you plan to, okay, let's push it out a few months and let's see. But then as time goes on, it gets worse and you have to stop. So a lot of my things have been moved virtual. We're doing virtual casting calls and things like that. I really can't see shooting a movie during the pandemic only because of the contact you have to have on the screen, that connection and that chemistry that the actors need to have. So I guess you would have to take their temperature before they come in. Everybody would have to get a test to make sure they don't have it. Just extra safety precautions, because even though we love the craft, health is very important. And we just want to make sure that everybody's healthy at this point.
Yeah, we want to make sure we are all safe during this
Yes.
during the pandemic um thing. So Estrada, could you tell us like what you want to add anything to that? Like what is the way forward for filmmakers?
Just basically to echo what Kade was saying, I mean, it's just taking those necessary precautions. I mean, the last thing you want to do is get ready to start filming, and then your main character is testing positive for COVID, and now you have to halt production because now one of your main characters is out for at least 2 to 3 weeks, and
Um,
so I think I think if you can set safety precautions out, make sure that we have enough tests. Basically everything that Kade was mentioning. I think it's what we need to do. Safety first. We want to make sure that everybody's safe, that nobody is getting sick because of carelessness.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, and I'm sure we everybody wants to stay safe. So we have to do the right thing by putting on our mask, using our sanitizer, washing our hands, and all those, and self social distancing. So, Kade, yes, you have a lot on your plate, right? I see you're a
Right.
mom, you're a wife, I mean, you're a design engineer, or you're a web developer, and you have lots of more titles I saw there. Like, um,
Yeah.
and I know, I mean, I'm so impressed to see that, and I like to see ladies try higher, and I'm super,
Yeah.
super, super proud of you for that. So,
Thank
I'm a
you.
mom, and I know how difficult it is to like for being a mom, being a wife, and have all those I have a job. So just imagine you having all those other things. Like, how do you really cope with them? Like, how do you cope being a mom and a wife and those other jobs you do? How do you cope?
Um, I'm not going to say it's easy because it's not.
Yeah.
It's not easy at all. But I'm blessed because my husband understands what I do and he supports it so much that he makes it easy to kind of do everything that I need to do. Like if I have a meeting or an interview, he puts on both hats as mom and dad and he takes care of it. Or if I need his help on set, he's there. He was actually in the movie because one of our actors, we had to let him go at the last minute. So I came home, I was like, hey, I need you to be an actor. So the blessing is that, he's so supportive. And especially when you're a filmmaker, the long hours and the things like that we normally have to do, it's very important to have a spouse or a partner that understands what you're doing, but also supports it. And then my daughter, I call her the boss lady because she really doesn't care what's going on. She's 3 years old.
Yeah.
Um, but a lollipop or a hey, we'll go get
I
ice
know.
cream later. Yeah. Normally she lets me be. So it's hard, but it's
Really.
worth it. And it's definitely a blessing. I wouldn't change any of it.
Yeah, it really worth it. Like I can imagine you have a 3 year old. I have a 3 year old also, so I have
Also,
a 3 year old, so I can imagine what you're going through. So
Yeah.
um um the thing is I watched your movie White Rose, and I see that white rose is a very sensitive topic. Like I said, it deals with sexual sex trafficking and all that. Um, you guys really did a great job on that. You guys did an amazing job. Like I said, congrats, and continue with your artwork and good work you're doing. Can you like just tell the audience a little more like a synopsis though about the movie, not just go really into it, but just tell us a synopsis about it. Yeah, just tell us about the movie though, or what inspires you. Okay, let me say what inspires you to like, yeah, to make the movie.
You want John to answer or did you?
Okay, I'll go with John
Yeah,
first.
there
John?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So, I mean, again, what inspired me is just what inspired the whole thing was just we want this to make be a movement. As Kade mentioned earlier, our prayer is that this will become turn into a series because the more you talk about it, the more it's in the public eye, and so that's where we want to get to. Oh, you can't hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, okay. So yeah, so that's what that was the whole inspiration is just to keep on getting the movement out there because the more we expose it, the more we have, the more we can fight it and combat this horrendous crime.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. You Kadi, you have anything to like add to that? Do you have anything to add to it?
Yeah.
Like what? Yeah,
So just to give everybody a little synopsis, it's
yeah.
actually about a teenage girl named Mia Robinson. And Mia goes through a lot of trials and tribulations throughout her very young life, which a lot of us do. She goes through tragedies and things like that. And then she's entrusted with some family members who are supposed to kind of nurture her on her journey in life. And they turn out to be part of their own agenda, let's say. So she's faced with survival. She goes from being a little girl and having to worry about little girl things, looking forward to school and things like that, to fighting for her own survival. And then it actually shows a sense of redemption because you also see her as an adult and you see how everything plays out in the end. And like John was saying, it's very important to keep talking about it because a lot of the interviews that we've done, a lot of people didn't know how bad it was until we got on there. We started telling them statistics like, 20,000 people per year get trafficked in the US, or during the American Super Bowl, the city that we live in, actually, they traffic people back and forth so much so that they're training airline employees and police officers and things like that. So these traffickers use a lot of different avenues, and we just feel like it's really important to continue to talk about it so that people can be aware because this particular thing is hidden in plain sight.
Which is true. Which is true. Like you said it all. It's true. These things happen, and some people don't know about it. Some people don't know it happens, but yes, it really happens. I just want you guys to know that we might be having a Q&A after this section. But before that, I have kind of a fun section part to go on. And this is called Filmmakers on the Spot. Nothing serious though. It's nothing serious, but just a little bit of fun. So, Kadia, I'm gonna start with you. Can you please like tell us what your most embarrassing moment is? We just
My most improvising moment.
embarrassing, embarrassing,
Embarrassed.
embarrassing
Oh, my
moment.
most
Yeah,
embarrassing moment
embarrassing
in
moment.
film or just in general.
I'll say in fame or
um,
yeah, in general though. Like you could just say, probably yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay. Well, one time, during the first film that I was doing, The Industry, I remember I was carrying a whole bunch of stuff, like the food and stuff for the actors, and I tripped
Yeah.
and everything spilled everywhere. Um, they were nice about it, but I know they laughed at the end. I laughed at myself too.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm gonna laugh if I'm there, dude. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Estrada, could you tell us your most embarrassing moment, please, if you have one?
Oh man, do I have one? I have. All right. One that sticks out. I think when I was younger, I played basketball in middle school, and I remember I wasn't as good as some of the other guys, and I remember my mom waiting for me outside of the court, and I wasn't playing. And my mom got out one day and just walked up to the coach in front of everybody and just said, "My son is not gonna play for you anymore. I'm tired of coming here and he's not playing." And all the kids were like laughing. I was like, "No." Oh, it was. I was just like, she laughs at it now, but for me, it's just like, oh my gosh.
Oh my God, that was so funny. So do you have like this is serious now, but do you have like is there any regrets in your life? Like, do you have any regrets in life, Kade?
Yeah, you know what? I do, but I don't look at too many things as regrets. I look at them as learning
Yes.
lessons.
Mhm.
So in April, my father actually passed away from a heart attack, and
Sorry
he
about
lived in
that.
Philadelphia. Thank you. He lived in Philadelphia. I'm in Atlanta. It's about a 14-hour drive. And I just wish I would have gone home more because that's where I was raised. Looking back, like we always used to talk and FaceTime and things like that, but I definitely wish I would have actually gone home more to see him in person.
So sorry about that. Like we
Thank
send
you.
our condolence from team.
Thank
Estrada,
you.
can you like tell us your can you like tell us your regret, any regret in life?
Um, I think one of the regrets is my school choice and when I left high school, when you have no direction, it's a little tough. But I felt like instead of going to a technical college that I went to, I wish I would have gone to maybe gone to like a 4-year university and just to experience the online campus. That's because I think just getting those life lessons from there and just going away from home, I think it would have been different. But too, if a lot of times, the path that you take, you have your learning lessons from there as well. So I just like,
Yeah.
I would say if anything, that would be the one thing.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes in life we just have to take our regret or our pain as a lesson, you know.
Mm.
Right.
So yeah, that's it as a lesson. So we use those things to learn from for the future, and they help. They really help. That's the thing. They help us for the future. They prepare us for the future. So are there what are your best achievements? Like what you want to tell us about your achievements? Like yeah. Kade, please.
Well, I will say that Jado Studios, my whole film production company, is one of my greatest achievements because of all that it does. So Jado Studios is the parent company, but like you read, it breaks down into design as well as filmmaking. And then we also have a charity, the Edward and Irene Marab Foundation, which is actually named after my parents because they were humanitarians in Liberia. So right now we're actually building schools and churches over there. And I have a scholarship that's named after my daughter. And we're actually like selecting 2 or 3 children and actually paying their school fee and putting them through. So it's fulfilling that, the business is able to do so much for so many people and make an impact on so many lives more than just entertainment.
Oh, that's so good. Like that is so good. Like I said, Kade, I'm really impressed with what you're doing. Just keep up your good work.
Yeah.
Estrada, you too keep up your good work. So aside from filmmaking, what else do you guys do aside from filmmaking? What else do you do, Kade? Ladies first, that's what I'm
So,
doing. Ladies
yeah.
first, right, Estrada?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
what I always go with that
Absolutely.
first. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has no complaints with that. So
No.
besides filmmaking and working and all of that, being a wife and a mom, I try to devote as much time as I can to family time and kind of just pouring into my daughter, being present because, when you're a filmmaker, you're on set for so many hours. And I don't want there to be that disconnect where, she feels like I wasn't around. So whenever I get some free time, I'm just pouring into her, showing her new things, taking her places. I love to travel. Love to travel. So when COVID is over, I plan on doing a lot more of that.
Uh-oh. I think.
Gosh. Okay, I'm sorry. That is so good, Kade. Sorry about that. Yeah, Estrada, you want to tell us what else you do aside from filmmaking?
Just outside of my 9 to 5, I'm a husband, and we have 2 young daughters, one 8 years old and one 7 months. So, outside of the 9 to 5 and doing any writing, it's spending time with my wife and my daughters, and just trying to make sure that I'm balancing time for them as well. So,
Okay, that is so awesome. That is so awesome. So you guys, I want to say like thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to do this with you. But I have one
thank
more
you.
question to go with before I would ask the audience if they have a Q and A for you. What advice will you give for upcoming filmmakers, Kade? What advice will you give to them?
I will say that your film or your creation, you have to look at that as your baby and you have to protect it at all costs. Because a lot of times, there's going to be people who will try to steal your ideas. So before you show it to anybody, make sure that is copywritten, make sure that you own it. And then just make sure that you're passionate about it. Get a team around you that's aligned with you, that's on the same way of thinking, because if you surround yourself with people who don't see your vision, it's never going to work. So your team is very important. Copywriting your material is very important. And then also having fun, because you're on set for a very long time and you have to make sure that you love what you do.
Yeah, that is awesome, Kade. Like, yes, it's true. We need to have people that sees things the way we see things before we can
Yes.
move forward. Yeah, you are right. So, Estrada, what do you want to, what advice would you like to give to upcoming filmmakers?
I would say always be willing to learn, always be willing to grow. You don't know everything, so I think if you operate like water, always willing to just be able um, to listen, to grow, be able to don't confine yourself in a box that it has to be one way. There's always other people, and like how they said, if you surround yourself with people, with a circle of people that have your same mindset, you can always learn to grow and be bigger than what you are. If you are a person who is very set in your ways, that cannot always be a good thing. I think if you're willing to grow, willing to learn, I think that's always key.
Yeah, thank you so much, Estrada. Yeah, it's good when we think outside the box and not just in the box. We want to think outside the box so we can do every other thing. Yeah.
Right.
So I just want to add one more fun part. Do you guys like music, right? So I'm trying to make it
Yes.
fun again. You like music, right? That's good. You
Yes.
wanna like just tell us what's your best music? What kind of music you listen to?
Oh, I love African music.
African
Being from
music.
Liberia, I
That's
love
good. So
African
who's
music.
your best?
African
Who's your
music,
best?
reggae, soca.
That's good. So who's your best? Who's your best artist?
The artist flavor.
Wow, you like flavor? That is
Yeah,
good. You
I
wanna
like
like flavor?
flavor.
Which of flavor music do you like? Which flavor do
You
you
know
like?
what? I think I might have all of his songs on my
Wow,
playlist.
wow, that is
Yeah,
so
you
wow.
can't go
That's
wrong with
impressive.
it.
That's cool. I can imagine you. Okay, you dance. What dance step do you like?
Kind.
Can you like just?
I feel like
Can you just give us
I feel
some
like if I say
move?
yes, you're
Like,
gonna ask me to dance.
okay, can you just like just give us a move? You wanna show us one of your move? Like,
A little.
oh yeah, yeah, that's an African dance there. That is an African dance. That's so cool. Estrada, so what kind of music do you like? What kind of music you like music, right? So what kind of music do you listen to?
Yeah, I like listening to like Christian hip hop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've
So
al-
okay. No, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say I've always growing up I've always liked hip hop,
Yeah.
and then and now I've been into last couple of years I've been introduced to Christian hip hop, and I really like it, and so that's usually what I listen to now.
Yeah. That is awesome. So you like singing? Is that what you're saying? You like to sing?
I, don't- I mean, I guess
Can
I'm
you
one of those
sing?
shower singers.
I think you
Can
should
No,
you
make him
sing?
sing.
Huh?
no, I'm a shower singer. I'm not a.
Can you
My
sing or
notes
can
are a
you
little.
dance? Which one would you prefer to show? Like which one would you prefer to show? So, because we want to see something, right?
Huh?
Yeah,
No, I can't dance.
can you sing?
I
Can showed
can't
us
sing
one,
and
so we
dance.
have to make it. We have to make it you get what I'm
Right. You have to
saying?
make it
Yeah.
even.
Yeah,
Uh,
Yeah.
no, thank
Fair.
you. So you wanna like sing or just show us a move?
Now, all right, I'll tell you one of my songs that it's a oldie, but it's what I don't know. It's just it always reminds me of like back in my middle school days,
I know you
and
can sing
that's
this, brother.
no, I can't sing. So back to life,
I remember the
back
song.
to reality,
Yeah.
back to life.
I know that song. I remember this song. Okay, that is so
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, that is so
yeah.
cool. So I want to say thank you so much for sharing this beautiful moment with us. We are really, really We really, really appreciate this time. But before we round up, my some of the audience would like to ask a question. So now it's time for
Okay.
Q&A. Yeah, is okay. So someone is gonna come up now.
So I have a question.
Okay, someone is here now.
This is Lavender. Sorry, I missed the initial bit of the interview because I was
Can
traveling,
you,
but I was really intrigued.
Lavender?
Uh-huh.
Can we see you, please?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I was traveling, so I just didn't want it to be on the video because I look like
I'm sorry.
just running around in a jungle.
No.
So, okay, just a quick question. I missed the initial part of the interview, so probably you've already answered this, but I really want to know what has been your inspiration when you started movie making or direction, production. So, what has been your inspiration? What really drove you to kind of do this?
For me, it's been just the want to create something and then see it come to life. So it's one thing when you create a character and you give them a personality and you write a storyline, but when you actually are a part of watching it come to life, the casting and all of that, it's just a different kind of fulfillment. And it also really inspires me when I feel like, God inspires me to do something, and then I'm able to take that inspiration and make it something.
Oh, fantastic.
No, I was just gonna say for me, it was just being able to tell a story and just put characters to life. I mean, and just once you see that, it's so encouraging, and it makes you want to just create even more and more because there's so many storylines out there that need to be told.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Thank you so much, Lavender. We really
No
appreciate it.
problem.
Okay, so thank you guys. I don't think there's any more questions from the audience as we can see. So I just want to say thank you so much for sharing this beautiful moment with us. I really had fun with you guys, and I'm sure every other people will really have fun with you. And I want to say wish you all the best here from team. Thank you and
Thank
God bless
you.
you guys. Bye.
Thank you,
Well,
guys.
thank
God
you.
bless.
God bless you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Bye bye now.